The Texans just sent a serious message to the San Francisco 49ers, and man, it was their best performance of the season. And yes, I'm up on the rooftop enjoying this win, little victory Sunday. It's nice to finally win one, especially when you dominated through the trenches. They held the time of possession, outscoring the Niners time of possession-wise. 40 minutes with the ball compared to not even 20 for the San Francisco 49ers. So it really shouldn't have been that close towards the end. 26-15 final. If you're new here, Miike Zanetti, Texans Digest. If you would hit that subscribe button, join the crew, Texans Digest family. And realistically, let's just start it off. I mean, the Texans have to start involving the rookie wide receivers. Finally, Jalen Noel playing a great offensive performance. The whole trio of Iowa State wide receivers. Xavier Hutchinson had the touchdown. Higgins had a touchdown. Noel did really well. So honestly, great day from CJ Stroud, especially without the top two wide receivers in Christian Kirk and Nico Collins. I really was expecting not necessarily a struggle. I mean, we talked about it like kind of a preview of the game when there was injuries. I wasn't really let me just phrase it this way. I did dig into the Texans a little bit for their loss to the Seahawks last week. However, I think it's rightfully so. And DeMeco Ryans responded to the hate, and he was kind of, we got to give DeMeco credit for calling out the naysayers.
Doesn't matter about outside noise, and we hear a lot of that every time you lose. Everybody wants to come up with something of get rid of everybody, fire everybody, you lose a game, you go out, don't play well. Well, it's just the noise is just a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about, because here in this room as a team, we stick together as a team, and we know it's only about us, right? And you never let that outside noise creep in and control who we are. We know who we are. We know what we're about. We know the formula. We know what it takes to go win games. And we just understand that the outside noise is just noise. We would never go ask anybody who's giving the noise. We would never go ask them their opinion about how to game plan or how to play football. So we keep that in-house, and we press forward, and we go out and play good football. That's what it's about.
So, yes, I might have been one of the people that kind of said, the Texans should fire everyone. But it wasn't everyone. It was just the fact that you came out of a bye. You played pretty much close to terrible in the game that you were supposed to. Like the Seahawks, I understand going to Seattle is a tough environment. But the offensive play calling, it needed some repercussions. Maybe not firings, but at least you could show in a bounce-back win at home that you can actually improve over the course of a week. Because for the first time ever, I saw the QB sneak implemented in this offense. And I didn't see Nick Caley use it all year. And the fact that they finally had some life on offense, it shows a lot. Now, 26-15, let's talk about it. That is not necessarily a great win, right? You want to kind of blow teams out of the water. And the defense is going to be the defense. The first two drives the Texans had, they went for 1 4th down. It was early in the game. Literally the first drive of the game, they took like about 8 to 10 minutes off the clock. And that's kind of what you want to see. Take the ball out of the defense's hands. This is what the offense was supposed to be this season. They were supposed to control the ground. They were supposed to take timely possessions. It was supposed to be play action, bootleg, and that is what the offense finally did. This offense is not built to be down in games. And when you are down in games, go away from the play action. I was okay with Nick Caley lining up under center for most of the game because you were up. You had the lead. You wanted to control the clock, and that's pretty much what the Texans did. Like I said to start the video, 40 minutes of time of possession, and I think they can definitely clean up a couple things. It definitely wasn't the perfect performance. I think 4th and 2 early in the game. I understand taking the points and trusting your defense, but against better teams. I'm not saying that the Niners aren't a good team, but they're missing a lot of pieces, right? They don't have Ricky Pearsall. Brock Purdy is kind of their main guy. They're missing a lot of starters on defense. And if you're going to play a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, a much more well-rounded team, or maybe the Detroit Lions, you got the Broncos next week. That's going to be a really interesting game. But you need to be able to play. I know I live in the city, so it might be a little loud. But you have to be able to play 4 quarters of football. And that's the biggest thing with this team is the offense did play. The offense did play really well, but if you outgain somebody 475 yards to 223 and, again, dominate the time of possession, do really well in the 3rd down game, you kind of want to have a better outcome. I mean, the Texans did have a few turnovers on Kamari Lassiter had that interception that kind of sealed the game when they were up 11. Stroud threw a pick towards the end of the half. That really, I don't think that was anything crazy. You're not going to count that against him. He was trying to make a play, but it was a bad throw. He did airmail Jalen Noel. So, again, a great game from Stroud, and this kind of proves that he does not need a elite wide receiver. Not to say that the rookies we didn't draft are elite, but again, they're new. They're trying to figure it out. And Higgins, there was definitely not a number one wide receiver on the field. You can argue Higgins, you can argue Hutchinson, you can argue Noel. Everyone is a role player, and that was what made the team a lot better. So, offensive line held up. Woody Marks honestly looked like the best on the team with that 50-yard catch and run out of the backfield. It was literally a check down, and he took it for the Texans, tied to the longest play of the season. But going back to what DeMeco Ryan said about this team and how, anybody who doesn't know the team, we proved you wrong. And 100%, credit the offense, credit the team for bouncing back, but again, like I said, after a bye week, you were expecting a big-time win. Now that you're back to 3-4, or 3-5, if you will, this team is not looking great. The reason I say that, 3-4 is great and all. The Colts are 6-1, currently still playing right now. They'll probably beat the Titans, but again, you are now competing for a wild card spot. And that win against the Seahawks, I think that was the turning point of the season. If you could flip the switch in a bye week and figure things out, that would have been 10 times better. But because you had two easy teams going into the bye, they don't think they had to change much. They kind of just took a week off. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but again, I think that's what prompted the stalling of the offense on Monday night against the Seahawks. Bad play calling. Again, their defense is what's going to keep them in games. The Texans could win out to win the season, and they could have a great record, 12-4, something along those lines. Pretty sure it's 13-4 because there's 17 games. 13. Pretty sure that's how it works. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on how the team bounced back, because honestly, they finally are having success. They're finally learning how to implement receivers. But again, I was hoping they could do that a week earlier because every win counts. The Texans do have a very rough schedule to end the year. Because they were first in the division last year, they're going to get a lot of tough teams. So you look at the fact that they go, let's just list the teams for the Texans. Broncos, Jaguars, Titans, Bills, Colts twice, Chiefs, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers. So I would say the tough games on that schedule, Jacksonville played us tough. Buffalo's going to be a tough game. The Colts twice, Chiefs. That's 5-6 tough games if you include the Chargers. So the Texans will at least have about 3 more, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but pretty easy wins if you have the Titans, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. So that'll give you 6 wins on the season. But you want to be able to have at least 3 of those 5 tough games in the Colts, the Bills, the Chargers, the Chiefs. So you want to see at least 3 of the 5, 4 of the 5. That would be great if the Texans can be able to accomplish something that big. But again, I'm happy for the win. I'm happy for the bounce back. It was, again, you have to be able to play 4 quarters of ball against better teams than the 49ers. I don't think you're going to get a team that's this banged up in the season. Yes, it's great coaching, but again, I don't want to discredit what the Texans are doing, but I do think they have to keep the foot on the gas. You can't just, after one win, DeMeco Ryan, say, yeah, look at us. Look, and I don't think that's what he's saying by any means, but I think that mindset of saying, yeah, we had a bad week against the Seahawks, we bounced back, that kind of mindset could be like, all right, we know what we're doing on our offense, and then all of a sudden you have a week like you did against Seattle to where they didn't look like they knew what they were doing. And I'm not saying the offense is bad, but the offensive play calling for the situation of today was great. Long drives, possession of the football, scoring touchdowns, scoring on almost every drive, even the special teams, pinning the Niners inside the 1. That's what you want to see. That is Texans football. However, you cannot stall offensive drives. And I think 4th and 2, certainly, there's certain ones you do go for. But again, all around, great game for the Texans. This is just what you wanted to see in a bounce-back win, but you cannot stop. Foot on the gas, keep moving forward, get Woody Marks involved, get Jalen Noel involved. No offense, do not want to see Braxton Berrios. Christian Kirk is definitely a lethal weapon, but again, not able to stay healthy. I think Noel is now Stroud's new favorite target. He hit him on a deep pass, and honestly, very similar. Reminds me a lot of Tank Dell. With the way he runs routes, the way he runs after the catch. honestly, I love the addition, and I think, honestly, it might have been a better draft pick than Jaden Higgins. I might eat my words in a few weeks, but Jaden Higgins also looking like he's the number one role in this offense potentially if Nico Collins is out long term. Obviously, he had a concussion, should be back soon. But yeah, Broncos game next week. Let me know what you guys thought of week number 8. The Texans finally winning, getting back close to the road to 500. I really think they can close this season out as a 9, 10, maybe an 11-win football team. Like I said, the 6 wins are kind of there. But then you have a lot of tough games. I don't know if you could beat the Colts. Should steal 1 against them. I hope they could steal 1 against Jacksonville. They should beat the Chiefs, maybe the Bills. So that's another 4 that could give you 10 wins. But again, hopefully the Texans win out. But let me know your thoughts, as always. It's been Miike Zanetti, the Texans Digest. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Appreciate everyone joining. Love all the comments, as always. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out. Thanks for joining me on the roof.